gentlemen, hello YouTube! I am back. My name is Corey, and I am the host of the Pop the Chart live stream, and we are getting ready for the OPGN OpGen. That's right, OpGen stock Q4 2020 earnings and conference call. Also, coming up in just a few moments. We're a little early, by the way. It's 4:06. I popped in here quick. All right, a little early. We're going to get ready for the HOFV. The CEO of the Hall of Fame Resort Entertainment is going to be talking here in just a few minutes. It's an exclusive through my news feed that I have over here. It's exclusive. They set up a link, and they're going to be interviewing them. So I'm going to be bringing that to you quickly. That's supposed to come right about 4:15. And I've been watching. They've been talking about it, and I will pull that up here shortly. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be all kinds of fun. OPGN starts at 4:30, so just hang with us while we bring you some extra content. Again, this was a surprise interview. It just kind of came across the feed and said, hey, we're going to do this at about 4:15, so be ready for it. And so again, my name's Corey. It's Pop the Chart. I do a show each day from market open to market close. I just clicked out of there, came into here, and ready to rock. Introduce yourself in the live chat. Say hi. And tell us your price predictions, what you think, what you're interested in. I've got it all pulled up right here. I'll have the earnings call a little bit later on. We'll have the release when they release the earnings, so you can see that for OPGN, which I have right here. So keep an eye on that. Again, share out the link. Let some people know that we are here, we do exist, and we are ready to rock for another edition of the Pop the Chart Earnings After Hours right here on your favorite YouTube stream. At least I hope it is. If it isn't, then make it your favorite. Hit subscribe, hit like. We got more viewers than likes. Share out the link. Let's go. Let's go. All right, let me see here. Let me pull up the link. I just had it. Where is it at? All right, so here and there, I'll be doing some live listen-ins, and I'll do something like this. I'll stop the music for a second, then I'll bring it up, and I'll open it up.
I'm sure I'm down a lot in the last month, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you how bad.
So
in that sense, I diamond hands, but
so this right here is like I said, the news feed. They have their own little crew. They do a stream.
If I can stop that, I can stop that.
I'll bring it up so you can see it.
Let's bring Chris Kachi on. Chris, is that cool with you?
So they're getting ready for it. Again, here it's expected about 4:15.
Chris Kachi, co-host of SPAC's Attacks, Benzinga staff writer. What's up, man?
Hey, how?
All right, so anyway, when they bring up the CEO of HOFV, I will have that for you. All right, when they bring it up, I will have that for you. Right now, though, we're gonna jam out to some music. We're gonna check out the charts. Hit up the live chat. Hit the like button. Share it out. Share it out. Let people know we are doing this. We're doing this. All right, let me keep this up and running. I have a million things on my screen right now, so y'all gotta hang in there. I can only see so much. But again, thank you so much for joining. If you're new to the channel, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Again, I'm trying to grow the channel. I do earnings. I do a lot of the earnings calls, pull them up so people can hear them. I will be logged in to OpGen. Look at that. I even rhymed right there for you. Logged in. Oh. That didn't make any sense. Ah, that's why. Let's get this up and rolling. Alright. I'm in to the feed as well. I'm into the feed for OpGen. I'm logged in, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you're in the stream, feel free to stay high. Feel free to hit up that live chat. It is open. It's open for business. I tell you what, I am ready. I'm ready to see these stocks moon. I did not see anything on OpGen yet, and when it comes out, I will let you know. Okay, we got about 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Till the HOFV. I'm just sending a post out really quick, so just hang in there. All right, here we go. Good deal. Come on in, say hi, and let's get ready to rock. Okay, OPGN and closed, by the way, at 270. Currently, the after hours it is 280 right now, up 3% in the after hours. And then HOFE, we've been following it. I did a video on it yesterday. If you don't know much about HOFE, make sure that you check that video out from last night, because I charted it and I said, hey, it's gonna probably come down. It's gonna get close to that 472 mark, and then guess what? There's a good floor there. There's a chart pattern, and then whoosh, I think it's gonna bounce off of that with a W and continue up. Right? That's my plan. I said in my own, again, I'm not a financial advisor. Take what I say with a grain of salt, and remember that you got to make your own decisions. Invest at your own risk. It's the market, right? It's not, nothing's guaranteed in the market. So as we get ready for this interview, oh, I think they're live now. Let's go to the interview.
We were incredibly fortunate to have an opportunity.
Here we go. This is the CEO. They just went live.
Things in the spaces that we're in. So media, they represent some of the biggest names in Hollywood. They're certainly in the digital space. They know how to enter into those worlds. And I was introduced to their CEO a couple of years ago in Miami at the Super Bowl, Bill O'Dowd, and he and I had a chat back then about our two businesses and how we could develop a partnership that would be mutually beneficial, you know, with us having great content and access to brand partnerships and the way in which they represent, you know, award-winning singers and artists and you know, actors. And so, you know, media is a big play for us. And of course, we want to be, you know, a player in that space with the content that we have. Flash forward a year and a half later, and, you know, the NFT space starts to really heat up. And of course, as a sports and entertainment company, it's our responsibility. You know, we look forward to being in spaces where our fans are playing and staying and interacting and engaging. And so, you know, Bill and I had a conversation. We talked about their capabilities in terms of, you know, bringing great content to life. They certainly have access to the platforms that these NFTs are being sold on or traded upon. You know, the artisans that are doing all the work around this digital media and bringing, you know, exclusive content to life in ways that are really unique and different, and ways in which fans are you know, spending money on and finding very valuable. And so we had some discussions about a partnership, and lo and behold, we both found it to be very interesting and rewarding. We signed the deal this week. We have content that we are anxiously awaiting now to bring to life. We're starting that work and working with the artisans, and look forward to really having some pieces out there that will excite our guests and our fans and be a new business for us.
Perfect. Can you walk us through the partnership here, the financials? What does the revenue split or the licensing or the partnership look like for Hall of Fame and Dolphin?
Well, when you think about the way this works, obviously there's a platform that sells this content, right? And there's 3 platforms out there. There's others, Christie's and Sotheby's and locations like that you can buy high-end art. But that platform will always take a percentage of the sale. So the economics start with, wherever you're selling, they're going to have a percentage of the action, if you will. The subject, if we're telling or bringing to life one of our Hall of Famers or a celebrity NFL alumni or someone that, is profile in our company with the brands that we represent, they're going to have a percentage of this economic equation as well. Of course, we have to broadcast and publicize and make available to the public the kind of art that we're going to be, putting out for sale. And then there's the artist and the artist that's going to be doing this great work. And so, one of the things that Dolphin's bringing to the table for us is access to the artist that really can bring these images or the subject matter to life in really unique and different ways. And so there's a piece of the financial as well. And so then when you think about the net after all of those expenses, there is a rev share model that we have with Dolphin in place that we think is very fair and equitable, both sides representing the content that we're bringing and the capabilities that they have to help bring it to life and bring it to a platform for sale.
Perfect. So, I saw in the press release the mention of, some players from the Hall of Fame to start with. Is there any working relationship with the NFL to launch NFTs, or is this strictly through Hall of Fame ventures here in the Hall of Fame players?
Yeah, we are, well, it's not just strictly through them, but of course, these are the greatest players to ever play in the NFL. And so their stories are stories that we're not only going to be anxious to tell through our media division, which NFTs become a part of, by the way, but NFTs that represent who they are. NFTs, we have access through our partnership with the NFL Alumni Association to all 25,000, 26,000 players, contributors, coaches to ever be a part of professional football in the NFL. And so we hope to bring, NFTs that we have to life through those brand partnerships, but also through our own content. We're going to be launching our original fantasy football league next week. And I've spoken a little bit about that, just teasing the fact that I'm excited to have this new fantasy experience for our guests and our fans to enjoy. If you think about the way in which those geographies, the brands, the names, the logos of those franchises in that fantasy league are brought about, that there's an opportunity for an NFT there. And, we're going to have front offices that may have an NFL alum or a Hall of Famer as a part of that. And so, being able to create unique pieces of art around our own league and then other content, we announced that we'd like to start this with the partnership that we've formed with Elite Holdings. And Elite Holdings, if you remember, represent those 10 players that had the longevity and the ability to win a Heisman Trophy in college, have a great professional football career in the NFL, and go on to be inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 10 guys. That's it. That's the only 10 that have ever had those two distinctions bestowed upon them. And the funny line that we like to say is more people have walked on the moon than have had those two things. So you can imagine bringing NFTs to life with the power of those kinds of individuals. And that's our first target. But we'll have a lot of, I like to say we have a robust pipeline of archives, one-of-a-kind pieces of memorabilia, very collectible pieces that can be transformed into these NFTs. Remember, the Hall of Fame itself has 50+ million pieces of video and audio and imagery and artifacts that people may never get to see. And so this new business allows us a way to bring those things to life.
Awesome. You already knocked out some answers to some of my future questions there. So I want to circle back, to some of those later on, but keeping with the NFT theme here, the Heisman to Hall platform. So those 10 players, that's what jumped out to me on this. So we have Charles Woodson, of course, Benzinga, a Michigan company, so go blue, joining the Hall of Fame this year. He also won a Heisman. Did that have a lot to do with the timing of this launch, since he's going into the Hall of Fame this year and joining as the 10th player in that list?
Well, it certainly allowed us to call the potential docuseries or the video long form that we're going to make with these guys the Perfect 10. Before that, it was the Incredible 9. But no, really where this started was when Tim Brown was being inducted into the Hall of Fame. A friend of his, and he'll tell this story much better than I, as he was going onto the stage, says, do you realize you're only the ninth player to ever win a Heisman Trophy and to be inducted into the Hall of Fame? And he, like myself, said, come on, you have to be kidding. You have to be kidding. There have to be more players that have had those two honors bestowed upon them. But Tim, I've known Tim a while. He called me on a Sunday afternoon and we started talking about this. And listen, with my background in Disney, one thing is when you have great content and you have access to what can be a franchise, you look for ways to monetize that and bring that to life. And so we struck the partnership up and focused predominantly on media, but also live things, coaches opportunities and speaking engagements and really, the chance to bring this franchise. I like to refer to that as a franchise, the platform. But then when the NFTs came about, these were some of the greatest players to ever play the game, both in college and in pro. And, some of us don't hit our stride until certain points in life. And these guys were able to sustain that level of success. So we wanted to focus. I really felt it was a great platform to start with, in addition to our fantasy league and the archives and other things that we're going to try to bring to life in the very near term.
Awesome. So we talked a little bit before you joined about NBA Top Shot. And I'm sure some of our viewers are familiar with NBA Top Shot. Obviously, a successful NFT venture this year. What's the plan here, starting with the Heisman to Hall NFLs? How many of each will be offered and what's the distribution look like? Will it be pack drop similar to NBA Top Shot, or is this just straight up, auction or buying off of a site, method going forward?
First, it'll be, our goal is to put it on one of the mainstream sites. I think there are 3 that are secure and safe and have the ability to either trade in this cryptocurrency, or there is a site that allows for normal transaction through credit card. And so that's how we'll want to bring this to the guests and to the fans that have the appetite and want to have access to these kinds of NFTs. The platform, I think Top Shot has developed its own type of platform and, worked with a company to do that. Our goal is to bring subject matter experts in each particular area. And that's why we felt so strongly about Dolphin. They're great at what they do, promoting these, creating awareness, having access to creative talent. That's what they're bringing to the table for us. And then, having these out on the platform that we want to, really be able to showcase these NFTs was important. So, our steps in this are still being very measured. I won't go into all of the detail right now, but suffice to say, we do have a plan to roll these out. And look, the great thing about NFTs, I love, and I'm a collector of art myself, but traditional art. And so, I go back to, again, my Disney days. It used to be decades ago when they made an animated film, you had artisans drawing hand-painted cells, and it would take 3, 4, 5 years to do a animated film. Flash forward to today, this is all digitized and they can put out 3 or 4 of these films in a year. And I mean, really high quality. And so that's what this sort of represents to me. It represents a chance to get to market quickly with fantastic content that nobody else has access to except for us, in a way that, leverages the partners that we have available to us.
Awesome. So joining us again, for those of you, late here, we keep picking up hundreds and hundreds of viewers here. We have Mike Crawford, CEO of Hall of Fame Resort. That's ticker HOFV. Make sure you smash the like button, share this video with your friends, exclusive interview here on Benzinga. Mike, I've got to ask you, you said that you guys have been looking at NFTs for a while now. The question I have, with the popularity of NFTs now in 2021, there's been some talk, about a possible bubble or the longevity of the industry. What would you say to some of those naysayers that maybe have questioned, NFTs being a bubble or not being relevant a couple years from now?
Well, look, we live in a digital world. How much of what you do today is consumed digitally or mobily? And I don't see that changing for a very long time. I remember the day where we took content into the Apple ecosystem and started putting Disney films and other things, onto these handheld devices, and people saying, I'm not sure people will adopt this. I'm not sure how long that will go on. But the world continues to evolve, and technology becomes a significant part of what you have to consider when you have content, and you have to be able to adapt and transition your content onto multiple platforms. Is there a bubble? I can't speak to that. Wherever there's demand and wherever people find value in a product, they'll continue to buy it, and the price will continue to reflect that demand. But I do believe that this has a very long shelf life, and I think will it ever go away? I don't believe so. I think it just will continue to evolve into new mediums and different forms as technology helps us advance. And so, we wouldn't take our business into a place where we didn't think that there was longevity. We don't want to chase fads. We want to be in businesses where we can be respectful and place content where fans and guests want us to be.
Awesome. So, I talked about NFTs getting a lot of play this year. There's also been, a lot of trading activity around NFT stocks. So, we saw with the press release the other day, HOFV shares, jumped on that news. How much attention do you and the company, pay to volatility with, the NFT related stocks and, the price of the shares from a news drop like this?
Well, again, it's hard because it's all around you and people are sending you notes saying, hey, that's really great for you and the company. And it is good. But look, our focus is not about the stock price every day. Our focus is to figure out the best ways to leverage the partnerships, the content, the intellectual property that we have to create value for our shareholders, of course, but to create experiences that are unique and different, that are going to entertain fans virtually or in a physical location. And, I couldn't, as I said earlier, I couldn't be more excited about this new fantasy league we're launching. To me, it's an example of finding the white space in a very popular area, fantasy sports, fantasy football in our case, and launching a brand new franchise-based model where you don't have to be the GM and the president and do the draft and the trades, and it can be intimidating for fans. And so, for us, what we focus on is execution. And we're a young company. We've been around for all of, 8-9 months now, publicly traded. And our job is to continue to take what we have, exclusive access to content, and to figure out ways to really create experiences that our guests and our fans will really love and enjoy for a very long time. We're not an NFT company. We're a sports and entertainment company, and NFTs become part of the business that we're in.
By the way, that was CEO Mike Crawford of the Hall of Fame, HOFV, Hall of Fame Resort. I will finish playing that after the OPGN call, so if you're here for HOFV, make sure that you stick around. I'll play that afterwards. I don't want to leave you hanging, but I felt like that's a good stopping point. I know I was muted there for a second. I apologize. I got like 15 screens up right now. 15! All kinds of screens and just everywhere. So it's all good. It's all good. I realized it. It's a YouTuber mistake. It happens often, all right? But yeah, we're good to go. So we're going to do the OPGN earnings and then HOFV. Make sure that you're ready. Carlos, I don't know what happened, man. I hope you can hear me now. We're going to do the OPGN earnings call. It's coming to you live. Of course, OPGN announced their earnings. Their EPS was at at minus 34. They had 34 cents, minus 34. They missed of minus 31, so it was just a miss on OPGN's earnings. I'm going to bring up the full chart here, and we'll go back to HOFV afterwards, so you can check that out. HOFV is right here if you want to keep looking at it as we get ready to go live on the call. It's supposed to start anytime now. Here we go. By the way, if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to grow the channel. My name's Corey. I host of Pop the Chart. Here we go. Oh, just kidding. They got you. They got you. I do the show, by the way, each day, market open through market close. And then I do earnings calls as well. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you join us. I'll go back to that interview again later on as we get ready to go live here. Should be any moment. It's scheduled at 4:30. Again, introduce yourself in the live chat. The live chat's open. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Trying to grow the channel. Anytime you click that like button, it helps the algorithm at YouTube. Lets them know that I exist. I do a lot of technical analysis. I do videos. You can check out the HOFV. I made a video yesterday and last night talking about how the Hall of Fame stock was going to come down, hit about that 472 mark, and head back up. And guess what? That's what happened. That's what happened today. All right. Gonna have to pat myself on the back on that. So I do a lot of charting, technical analysis, things like that. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I have a goal, 200 subs by the end of the month. And last I looked, I was like 45 away, 40 something away. So if every one of you that's currently viewed that's not subscribed, clicked on it right now, click that subscribe button. It should ideally put me pretty close to that 200 goal that I have by next week. So please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Let's get it rolling. Share out the link. Let everybody know. Hey, the record in here, by the way, is 178, I think it is. 178 people at one time. And that was on the GameStop. So, swear that, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, here we go. Unless they're teasing us again. This should be it. Share out the link. Let everybody know. Awkward silence. It's still playing, so we'll see. Give it a minute. Thank you for subbing, by the way. Thank you for subbing.
Your lines are
Here we
live.
go.
Welcome to the OpGen fourth quarter and full year 2020 earnings call and business update. At this time, all participants are in listen-only mode. Following management's prepared remarks, there will be a Q&A session. As a reminder, this conference call is being recorded today, March 25th, 2021. Before we begin, I would like to caution you that comments made during this conference call by management may contain forward-looking statements regarding the operations of and future results of OpGen, including its subsidiaries, Curetis and Ares Genetics. I encourage you to review OpGen's filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, including, without limitation, the company's most recent Form 10-K for 2020 that will be filed with the SEC, which will identify specific factors that may cause actual results or events to differ materially from those described in the forward-looking statements. Factors that may affect the company's results include, but are not limited to, our ability to successfully achieve the expected synergies from the company's completed business combination with Curetis, and to implement the combined company's strategy, the impact of the continuing global COVID-19 pandemic on our business and operations, our use of proceeds from the at-the-market offering that we commenced in February 2020, as well as the proceeds from recent warrant exercises and financings such as the November 2020 PIPE and February 2021 registered direct. Pursuit of FDA clearance for the Curetis AMR gene panel for use with bacterial isolates and for our other products and services. The rate of adoption for our products and services by hospitals and other healthcare providers in general, as well as in the current COVID-19 pandemic situation in particular. The success of our commercialization efforts and partnering strategy, the effects on our business of existing and new regulatory requirements, and other economic and competitive factors. The content for this conference call contains time-sensitive information that is accurate only as of this date of the live call, March 25th, 2021. The company undertakes no obligation to revise or update any statements to reflect events or circumstances after the date of this conference call, except as required by law. Joining the call today will be Oliver Schacht, President and CEO, and Tim Deck, CFO of OpGen. I would now like to turn the call over to Oliver Schacht for introductory remarks.
Thank you to everyone joining us on the call this afternoon. I would like to begin by thanking Evan Jones, former CEO and currently a director of OpGen, for his years of dedication to this company and for making the strategic business combination of OpGen and Curatus possible in 2020. Evan has decided, for purely personal reasons, not to seek re-election to the board of directors at our upcoming stockholder meeting in June. We thank him for his tremendous commitment and wish him continued success in his next endeavors. As you're all aware, the global pandemic continues to evolve, and while there is tremendous progress being made on the vaccination front, the residual effects on part of our business are still present. Despite this, we ended 2020 on a strong note with a solid quarter, and today have a very strong cash position that will allow our business, product portfolio, and pipeline opportunities to grow significantly. We were able to execute and make significant progress across our key products and showed investors that our diversified product portfolio with unique and differentiated proprietary assets post the business combination can support an attractive combination of revenue and partnership growth. This is driven by the continued success of our award-winning diagnostics and technology that has established us as a force to be reckoned with in the molecular diagnostics and bioinformatics space, targeting AMR, or antimicrobial resistance. On today's call, we will begin by briefly reviewing the status of the reprioritization efforts announced last quarter, and then we'll discuss recent business highlights as they relate to the company's core capabilities and top-line growth prospects, at which point I will pass the call over to Tim to review financial highlights from the fourth quarter and full year 2020, as well as recent financing activities. We'll then wrap up the call with an update on the company's strategic initiatives and pipeline outlook. As a reminder, last quarter we discussed the outcome and subsequent reprioritization measures being taken by the company following extensive feedback from a third-party market research and consulting firm. They had conducted a voice of customer survey of 150 stakeholders in the decision-making on new diagnostic platforms, and a significant number of key opinion leader interviews. The analysis and application of this feedback resulted in a reprioritization of the product portfolio, including a renewed focus on the company's proprietary Univero platform and unique bioinformatics capabilities. This includes expanding the platform to include complicated urinary tract infections and invasive joint infections in the U.S., with clinical trials for future FDA submission and clearance anticipated to start in the second half of 2021. We will submit materials for possible pre-submission meetings with the FDA on each of these two products during the first half of 2021. Actually, having just submitted a first pre-sub package for the Univero UTI earlier this month. Similar products in both clinical indications using identical corresponding sample types have been successfully developed on the Univero platform and CE-IVD marked and are commercially available today in Europe and other markets. Another key focus will be developing our rapid molecular diagnostic platform offerings with an increased focus on bioinformatics solutions, including Aris Genetics, next-generation sequencing-based and artificial intelligence-powered antimicrobial resistance, AMR, and susceptibility, AST, prediction capabilities. The reprioritization has also included a platform consolidation to realize significant operational synergies and cost savings over time. As part of the reprioritization, we have successfully discontinued the legacy fish products, including QuickFish and PNA fish globally, ahead of schedule in early 2021. We delivered significant end-of-product lifecycle sales in the fourth quarter of 2020 and remaining revenue in early first quarter of this year, and have completed the wind down by now. We will no longer manufacture nor sell or ship commercial fish products going forward. As it relates to our renewed focus on expanding the Univero platform, we were excited to announce that OpGen subsidiary Curatus has entered into a distribution partnership with Anar Health Technologies for Colombia in the fourth quarter. Anar, headquartered in Bogota, is Colombia's leading diagnostics distributor that is already working with numerous renowned global IVD manufacturers. Under the distribution agreement, Anar has the exclusive rights to commercialize the Univero A50 instrument system and its full suite of Univero infectious disease diagnostic application cartridges in Colombia. To discuss OpGen subsidiary Ares Genetics activity, contributing to top-line growth this quarter. In November, we announced the launch of an early access program for the Ares Genetics novel next-generation sequencing, or NGS-based, molecular antibiotic resistance test for comprehensive profiling of genetic AMR markers from native specimen by a hybrid capture-based targeted NGS assay. It is an expanded version of the award-winning RSUPA, or Universal Pathogenome Assay, that was initially launched in 2019. Ares Genetics has received commercial orders for hundreds of the novel RSUPA tests, exceeding a bulk order volume of $250,000. We believe these initial orders demonstrate the need for universal AMR profiling in native specimen in the context of surveillance and infection prevention and control. Revenue recognition has started in early 2021 and will likely continue throughout the year. Ares Genetics also joined the JPI AMR network for integrating microbial sequencing and platforms for antimicrobial resistance. In collaboration with interdisciplinary subject matter experts and One Health AMR stakeholders, the network will provide guidelines and solutions to microbial sequencing for the detection, surveillance, and management of difficult-to-treat infections caused by AMR microorganisms. More recently, we were excited to announce that Ares Genetics and Sandoz, the #1 supplier of generics antibiotics globally, extended their collaboration within its pharma partnering program in the fourth quarter of 2020, and then again for another joint project in the first quarter of 2021 to assess the potential of molecular surveillance for better informed therapeutic guidance and antibiotic stewardship. The overall goal of this partnership is to develop a digital anti-infectious platform combining established microbiology laboratory methods with advanced bioinformatics and artificial intelligence methods to support drug development and lifecycle management. Following the presentation of final results from the initial collaboration phase on optimal positioning of phosphomycin combination therapies by molecular AST and in silico modeling at the Antimicrobial Resistance, Genomes, Big Data, and Emerging Technologies virtual conference in November 2020, the next phase explores the potential of combining NGS-based surveillance with predictive AST for improved guidance of antimicrobial therapy and better antibiotic stewardship. Additionally, Ares Genetics was granted a key patent on antimicrobial resistance prediction from genomic data, supporting the company's vision to improve guidance for antimicrobial therapy through AI-powered prediction of AMR and the discovery of diagnostic biomarkers. In the first quarter of 2021, OpGen continued to see publications by its subsidiary Ares Genetics and collaborators. The most recent study highlights best practice techniques for accurate antimicrobial resistance prediction from whole genome sequencing data and supports harmonization of the development of good machine learning practices. This study adds to Ares Genetics' publication record, further validating our approach to becoming a globally recognized leader in the development of AI-powered next-generation sequencing solutions for infectious disease testing. Addressing the United States FDA action plan by developing good machine learning practice and robust algorithms will be key to moving our AI-powered solutions into clinical practice. Applying the proposed best practice techniques to RSDB allowed us to further improve predictive performance of whole genome sequencing-based PAST. In this context, we're currently also working with several leading clinical centers in the United States to further demonstrate the potential of accurate whole genome sequence-based AST in independent validation studies. In addition, OpGen also announced the publication of results from a 1,400 patient sample multi-center study that highlighted the Univero LRT BAL panel's ability to accurately detect lower respiratory tract infections in bronchoalveolar lavage fluid samples, allowing for early diagnosis and proper choice of antimicrobials, crucial for the successful management of pneumonia. The performance data, comprehensive coverage, and fast time to result of this panel suggests significant clinical value for choosing appropriate antibiotics and for antibiotic stewardship. Additionally, very recently, we announced final data from the Karolinska Institute study getting published in a peer-reviewed journal. This paper highlights OpGen's Univero HPN product for hospitalized patients with pneumonia demonstrating a higher diagnostic yield than bacterial culture with a high negative predictive value of 99.8% for pathogen detection. This strong performance data, comprehensive coverage, and turnaround time of less than 5 hours from sample to result provides clinicians earlier data to inform antimicrobial decisions, especially in critically ill COVID-19 patients. Over the last 12 months, OpGen and its subsidiaries, Curetis and Ars Genetics, have announced about 10 peer-reviewed publications highlighting the power of molecular diagnostics and bioinformatics to help combat infectious disease. It is very important to highlight that such publications play a crucial role in the commercial rollout of any novel molecular diagnostic product, and thus they help drive top-line revenue growth as medical publications and journals inform a wide variety of healthcare professionals who must routinely and efficiently identify and deliver the most effective treatment for their patients. In addition, OpGen was awarded 2 German federal government grants to its subsidiary Curetis and collaborators. One project is coordinated by Jena University Hospital and designed to use artificial intelligence-based assay development for carbapenem resistance in gram-negative bacteria. And the other project looks at the Univero A30 RQ platform concept for veterinary applications, which could present an additional future growth opportunity. I will now turn the call over to our CFO, Tim Deck, who will review financial results for the fourth quarter and full year 2020 and recent financial developments for the business. Tim?
Thank you, Oliver, and welcome to everyone on the call today. On today's call, I will touch briefly on the highlights of the fourth quarter, review the full year 2020 financial results, discuss our recent financings, update you on our balance sheet position, and end with some thoughts on guidance. Please keep in mind that the business combination closed on April 1st, 2020. Therefore, Q4 2020 results include the full quarter as a combined company, whereas Q4 2019 is only for OpGen standalone. The full year numbers for 2020 only include 9 months as a combined company, and all references to 2019 pertain to the OpGen only numbers. Any pro forma reference will be noted separately. Revenue for the fourth quarter of 2020 was $1.4 million, up from $800,000 for the prior year period. This increase is largely due to collaboration revenue from Ares Genetics, as well as international sales from Curetis, offset in part by lower collaboration revenue related to our New York State project and lower fish revenue. Total revenue for the 12 months ended December 31st, 2020 was $4.2 million, compared with $3.5 million for the 12 months ended December 31st, 2019. The increase was due to the inclusion of Univero product sales, SARS-CoV-2 kit sales, and Ares Genetics collaboration and service revenues, offset in part by lower fish revenue and lower collaboration revenue from the New York State Department of Health project. Total pro forma revenue for the 12 months ended December 31st, 2020 was $5.2 million, compared with $6.1 million for the 12 months ended December 31st, 2019. Operating expenses for OpGen as a combined company for the fourth quarter of 2020 were $7.4 million, compared with $3.3 million in the fourth quarter of 2019. Operating expenses for the 12 months ended December 31st, 2020 were $26.9 million, compared with $15.8 million for the 12 months ended December 31st, 2019. Just a reminder, the Q4 and the full year 2019 numbers were OpGen standalone only and not as a combined company. I would like to provide some granularity in terms of our operating expenses since the business combination April 1st. R&D expenses for the fourth quarter of 2020 were $3.3 million, compared to $2.4 million in the third quarter and $3 million for the second quarter of 2020. The dip in the second quarter expenses was due to the halted Acuitas urine trial and COVID-19 related shift in expenses, as well as key activities in our Univero A30 platform development program only picked up later in the year. R&D expenses for the year ended 2020 were $10 million, compared with $5.1 million for the year ended December 2019. Again, the increase was due to the business combination during the last 3 quarters of 2020. G&A expenses for the fourth quarter of 2020 were $2.3 million, as compared to 2.4 for the third quarter and 2.5 for the second quarter of 2020, essentially flat quarter over quarter since the business combination. G&A expenses for the year ended 2020 were $8.8 million compared with $6.3 million for the year ended 2019. Again, reflecting the combined business during the last 3 quarters of the year. Sales and marketing expenses for the fourth quarter of 2020 was $800,000 as compared to $900,000 in the third quarter and $1 million in the second quarter of 2020. Essentially flat quarter over quarter since the business combination and reflective of COVID-19 related restrictions on travel and lower in-person meetings and conferences in 2020. Sales and marketing expenses for the year into 2020 were $3.1 million compared with $1.5 million for the year ended 2019. Again, reflecting the business combination for the last 3 quarters. Net loss for the fourth quarter of 2020 was $7.1 million or 34 cents per share compared with $2.5 million or 61 cents per share in the fourth quarter of 2019. Again, mostly driven by the business combination in 2020 and a higher number of shares outstanding in Q4 2020 versus the same period in 2019. The net loss for the 12 months ended December 31st, 2020 was $26.2 million or $1.66 per share compared with the net loss of $12.4 million or $7.70 per share for the 12 months ended December 31st, 2019. Since the time we announced the business combination with Curitis in late 2019, we have had a tremendous amount of interest from various groups in investing funds into the organization. Our story appears to have resonated very well with investors during 2020 and continues into 2021. In fact, our company's market cap has gone from roughly $6 million at the end of 2019 to over $100 million today. During this time, we have moved the company strategically to strengthen our balance sheet for the long haul with several highly successful financings. From the beginning of 2020 through today, we have raised approximately $70 million of additional capital. The increase in capital is attributable to several moves that were timely placed throughout the year. Staggered utilization of our ATM facility as prices were rising in early to mid-2020 raised $16.7 million. Warrant exercises from the November 2019 offering of $8.7 million, a private placement of $10 million in November 2020, a $25 million registered direct offering in February of 2021 at a very strong price point, and a warrant exercise and exchange of $9.7 million in March of this year. Both the registered direct and the warrant exercise and exchange carry warrants at a strong strike price of $3.55 and $3.56 respectively. These warrants, along with the company's remaining capacity under the existing shelf, could generate an additional proceeds of up to $37.9 million for the company if all, if all were exercised in full. The company expects to have a cash balance of approximately $40 million at the end of Q1 2021. Total shares outstanding as of today are approximately 38.3 million shares. In terms of our guidance, the foundation for a comprehensively constructed and accurate forecast is still very challenging due to the continued COVID pandemic and its impact across many parts of the world and across all areas of our business. Therefore, we will refrain from offering specific guidance today. However, I will provide some color now and hope to provide more detail on our May earnings call. The major underlying growth drivers in our business is expected to come from a number of areas. Our Univero core business is expected to grow internationally via distributors as well as in the U.S. We are seeing Univero UTI usage by several labs in an RUO setting in late 2020 and are starting to gain commercial traction in 2021. We are also seeing additional Univero system placements and customer account conversions from Univero LRT, LRT BAL in the United States. A significant portion, a significant long-term growth driver would be China. Currently, the timeline for NMPA approval of the pneumonia cartridge is unclear, and we have limited visibility there. Once approved, our partner, Beijing Clear Bio, has committed to a minimum purchase of 360 Univero systems and 1.5 million cartridges, accumulating over an 8-year time period. Just to remind everyone, this contract is signed and in place already, so there is no need to negotiate the commercial aspects of a China partnership. For further information on the partnership deal, please see our S4 filing from February of last year. The Ares partnering revenue will be subject to the timing and specific structuring of any potential partnering and licensing deal. Given the stage of negotiations, it would be prudent to assume that any material deal would not happen until later this year. Revenue from potential partnering deals, such as Ares Genetics licensing and collaboration deal, and our partnership around the Univero A30 platform, would highly depend on timing and structure. However, it is clear that from a cash flow perspective, both of these assets have the potential to help generate significant amount of non-dilutive deal-based funding to OpGen over the coming years, with significant upside coming from future product sales or revenue. Also, with the significant strength and balance sheet at OpGen, we are now also in a position to determine when the best possible point in time and what the best possible type of partnering deal for either asset might be. In order to maximize value from OpGen and our shareholders in the long run, we are not under the same pressure we may have been under prior to our financing to sign a particular deal. It is clear that the further we can drive Curitis and Ares Genetic product development ourselves, the more value we can generate and the better a possible future deal might look in terms of deal structure. And finally, cash burn. Given the expected cost savings from our fish products being terminated, ending the Acuitas AMR urine trial, yet at the same time initiating 2 large prospective clinical trials for Univero UTI and IJI in the United States, respectively, and further investment and OpEx into our Ares Genetic and Univero A30 platform would likely lead to fairly similar pattern of $5 to $6 million cash burn per quarter in 2021. With that, I'll turn the call over to Oliver to discuss additional key milestones.
Thank you, Tim. I would now like to highlight some of OpGen's key upcoming milestones in our development programs and commercial activities. As stated earlier and on previous calls, OpGen has remained in constant dialogue with the FDA regarding the status of the Acuitas AMR gene panel for isolates 510K submission, despite the ongoing delays in their review of non-COVID-19 related submissions. Last October, OpGen had issued our formal response to the agency's additional information request received earlier in the year. Following this submission in November, we had received notice from the FDA indicating they would be reallocating CDRH staff from open submissions to prioritize emergency use authorization or EUIA requests for in vitro diagnostics intended to address the COVID-19 pandemic. While the staffing focus on COVID-19 related EUAs within the FDA continues, we're very pleased to report that at the end of January, the FDA informed OpGen that they have formally resumed the review of our submission. Due to the high volume of EUA requests and the limitations on review resources, we understand that the FDA cannot currently commit to specific review and clearance timelines, or so-called MEDUSA timelines. We are, however, confident that OpGen has addressed all of the agency's remaining requests for additional information, and we anticipate a clearance decision at the FDA review team's earliest opportunity as time managed between review resources and COVID-19 related EUAs permit. While the FDA is working towards their final clearance decision, we have continued full steam ahead with commercial launch readiness activities. We have successfully manufactured already several batches of the Acuitas AMR gene panel for isolates product in preparation for commercial release, and our commercial team is poised for launch. We've used time to our advantage to ensure that we are equipped to meet any customer demands as soon as we have received our FDA clearance decision. Excitingly, earlier this first quarter of 2021, we received regulatory approval for the Curitis Univero system as an IVD instrument system in China from the Chinese NMPA. OpGen subsidiary Creatis and its Chinese partner Beijing Clear Bio continue to interact closely with the NMPA during the interactive review of the submission for the Univero 850 pneumonia cartridge as their first Univero-based diagnostic application for the Chinese market. A dossier for the review and potential future approval of the pneumonia cartridge was submitted as early as February 2019, and it includes comprehensive data from various clinical trials and regulatory submissions of the Univero LRT and LRT-BAL products, both of which are FDA cleared here in the United States, and the Univero OPGN cartridge for hospitalized pneumonia patients, which is CE-IVD marked in Europe. Timelines for NMPA response submissions and review had been extended by several months in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now that the NMPA has completed the registration of the Univero system as IVD for the Chinese market, the start of commercialization by our partner BCB, however, remains subject to also getting approval of the pneumonia cartridge first. We hope to be able to provide updates on the Chinese regulatory approval process and subsequently planned commercial launch in the coming quarters in 2021, but at this point in time, the NMPA does not provide any specific guidance or timelines for their reviews. As mentioned before, the commercial side of this contract with Beijing Clear Bio has been fully negotiated, and the deal was signed several years ago. So to reemphasize, there is absolutely no need to negotiate a commercial deal in China anymore. That is already in place, and it contains minimum commitments over an 8-year period of 360 Univero systems and 1.5 million cartridges, cumulatively adding to about $180 million in revenue to OpGen at current transfer prices in the agreement and at current euro-dollar foreign exchange rates. We've also made excellent progress in the final development phases of Univero 830 RQ platform. We expect that by the middle of 2021, we should have a small series of about 10 instrument systems readily available for final verification and validation testing. We've already established several assays on 830 cartridges, including one for SARS-CoV-2, flu A and flu B, and RSV, but also several antibiotic resistance marker assays. We mentioned in our last call that OpGen has continued the dialogue with several potential partners for such a platform, and we have continued doing so. We have received specifications for several potential products that could be developed onto such a system, and we believe that a partnering opportunity for OpGen around the 830 platform assets may present itself in the next several quarters. Earlier in 2020, we had announced the extension of our partnership with the New York State Department into a second year to detect, track, and manage antimicrobial resistant infections at healthcare institutions statewide. In the third quarter of 2020, sites that had previously been put on hold under the program due to the COVID-19 pandemic have begun to reopen, and during the fourth quarter of 2020 and first quarter of 2021 today, all testing sites have been actively running Acuitas AMR gene panel testing. As of today, 4 testing centers that run the Acuitas AMR gene panel tests on isolates from an affiliated network totaling more than 30 hospitals across New York City and the state of New York are up and running. We've seen significant ramp up in testing volumes in the fourth quarter of 2020 and into the first quarter of 2021. Given that COVID-19 had slowed the testing during the earlier parts of 2020, we're currently in a very active dialogue with the New York State Department of Health on how to extend and expand upon the Year 2 program, which would otherwise end on March 31st, 2021. And we're confident that the testing will be extended and expanded at attractive commercial terms to OpGen, with significant revenue totaling more than $300,000 and potentially up to $500,000 in the next 2 quarters. We will also be discussing during such extension the path forward with the New York State Department of Health on how to think about a broader statewide rollout in the third year and beyond of our collaboration. Going forward, we also look to some of the New York State sites to become early adopters of our FDA-cleared Acuitas AMR gene panel for isolates product, rather than the research use only version, which they're currently using. In closing, we're very pleased with the progress being made at OpGen and with our fourth quarter and full year results. We have significant momentum across our entire product portfolio. The post-business combination portfolio realignments we've implemented successfully will only further ensure our focus remains growing the company's core products and capabilities to drive top-line revenue growth and shareholder value. OpGen is very well positioned in the market with an exciting portfolio of products which we believe will help us achieve strong growth towards becoming one of the industry's leaders in the antimicrobial resistance and bioinformatics space. This market position has been reinforced by our collaborations, the numerous notable peer-reviewed publications, awards, grants, and a pipeline that includes prospects such as the pending FDA clearance decision and swift subsequent commercial launch of the Acuitas AMR gene panel for isolates in the United States, along with additional clinical trials of Univero, UTI, and IJI, and their future U.S. FDA regulatory milestones, such as submissions and eventual clearances. And finally, I would like to wholeheartedly thank all of our OpGen Group companies' employees globally for their phenomenal work ethic, focus, and execution as we've worked tirelessly through the pandemic to successfully combine our companies and product portfolios this past year. I look forward to a new, exciting year ahead and to the many continued successes we will achieve together. I would now like to turn the call back to the operator for questions. Operator?
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. If you do have a question, please press *1 now to be placed in the queue. One moment, please, while we poll for questions. Our first question is from Yi Chen of H.C. Wainwright. Please state your question.
Hi there, this is Muzz speaking on behalf of Yi Chen. I was wondering if you could clarify how soon you could commercially launch the AMR gene panel once approved, and what your projected revenues from this panel for the first full year would be after launch.
Sure. Now, as I said, we have continued to prepare. So, usually once you get FDA clearance in any molecular diagnostic product, it'll typically take a number of weeks. Let's call it, anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks in order to truly launch. Now, we've tried to shorten and compress that period as best we can. As I said, we have produced and manufactured several batches of Acuitas AMR gene panel product. It has basically run through our QC process. It's on QC hold pending the FDA clearance. We obviously need the appropriate label to be affixed to the product once we have FDA clearance. The marketing and sales organizations have been trained. The collateral has been done. We're certainly in active dialogues, and I mentioned as a couple of examples the various customers today that run the Acuitas AMR RUO for possibly converting them over to the FDA-cleared product. In terms of first full-year revenue, we're not providing any specific guidance at this point. Again, typically you would anticipate that you will have – these are complex products. It's going to be a first-in-class and a first-of-its-kind type product. We anticipate the Acuitas AMR gene panel for isolates to be the broadest panel of genetic antimicrobial resistance markers that the FDA would have cleared once it's cleared. So sales cycles for complicated product in truly novel indication area are fairly lengthy. Again, if you look at the industry comparables, it's not uncommon to see anything from 6 to 9 or even 12 months in some larger hospital networks. But again, from then on out, utilization per instrument system, and that's the way to think about it. How many systems can you place? What's the annuity, if you will, on any given system? You're looking at tests that are somewhere in the, call it, $100 to $150 ballpark per test. And if you can run, on any given instrument system, several hundreds, potentially a couple of thousand tests per year, obviously makes for very attractive annuities. That boils down to how many of these systems can we place in a 12-month period? Again, we're at this point not given any specific guidance because, again, we need to see the final FDA labeling and claims they allow us to make. But, again, the funnel is being prepared, and we're going to try to drive this out of the gate as hard as we can.
All right, that's very helpful. Thanks very much, and we look forward to continued success. Thanks.
Our next question is from Max Jacobs of Edison Group. Please state your question.
Hi guys, thanks for taking my question. So I was just wondering, with regards to the China deal, how what sorts of revenues can we expect to see in the first year after marketing approval?
So I'll, again, what's previously been publicly disclosed, and this actually, if you look back at some of the previous Curatus disclosure, that the original contract with Beijing Clear was for 5 years. During that initial 5-year period, that was 260 instrument systems, and the cumulative revenue would have been up to 60 million euros. And then years 6, 7, and 8 that were negotiated and added at a later stage basically added on another 100 systems as a minimum, and it added on another approximately 90 million in cumulative revenue. So if you take the 60 million euros, which in US dollar terms about $72 million or so right now, over a 6-year term, I think it is fair to say that this is not going to be linear. You're going to have sort of an exponential growth phase early on. Clearly, you're going to see in the first 1, 2, 3 years, you're going to see the bulk of instrument placements, and then you'll see the cartridge pull-through and utilization following as each account goes through their internal validation, et cetera. So again, if you take that 60 million euro, $72 million 5-year cumulative number, and then adjust it and build yourself a little S-shaped curve, you're probably going to come up with as close an approximation as we can provide at this stage.
Okay, great. That was helpful. And then just on Colombia, can you kind of a similar question, but not necessarily just based on year one. What sort of revenue opportunity do you think that is? Can you give us something in the ballpark?
Sure. So again, so what we've disclosed is that over the 3 years, it's a minimum of 10 Univero instrument systems. If you look at a typical Univero system, running anywhere from the low end, let's call it, 200-300 tests, and the high end could be up to 1,000 tests a year. You look at the end customer pricing, which is likely going to be, somewhat lower than here in the United States, but again, a per test revenue towards end customers likely going to be in that $120 to $180 ballpark. With the typical distributor margin in our industry usually being in the 30-40% ballpark. So we, of course, generate our revenue as OpGen through the transfer price-based sales. You sort of get a sense on a per instrument basis. This is from high 5 figures to low 6 figures annuity per instrument per annum. And of course, if you look strategically, you look at the ANAR relationship. The initial deal is for Colombia and Colombia only. They're certainly in their country. They're number one. They're ahead of some of the brand names in the diagnostic industry. They're certainly ambitious and looking at expanding beyond Colombia into additional Latin American markets. So the way to look at this really is the beginning of a strategic partnership that could go well beyond Colombia over the coming years. And at least from a initial interest level, there was several hundred participants in that K opinion leader event a couple of weeks back with tremendously positive feedback. Right now, the focus is to get the regulatory paperwork done. The good news here: no clinical trial. There is no. It's not like an FDA review. It's basically us providing the CE mark documentation and technical files for each of the products. And you remember, there's the Univero system, and then there's 5 CE marked cartridges in 5 disease areas: pneumonia, implant tissue infection, blood culture, urinary tract infection, and intra-abdominal infection. They're taking all 5 products through the Colombian process. But again, it's purely paper-based. We've submitted pretty much the full gambit of documents, and we're expecting, probably a second half, call it fall season 2021 clearance, and then they can go right and launch the product portfolio in the Colombian market.
Great. That was an extremely helpful color. Thank you so much.
And if you actually, just as you think about this, Colombia being a prototypical deal, we have additional such deals, for example, in Vietnam, which is first basically a copycat of that type agreement. 3 years, minimum commitments on instruments, same regulatory process. So, it's always worth, we continue to expand our geographic scope clearly continue to drive the top line here.
Wonderful. Those were all my questions. Thank you.
Our final question comes from Ben Hayner of Alliance Global Partners. Please state your question.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks for taking the questions, and congrats on the progress.
Thank you, Ben. Good to have you.
So first for me, I know there's been a lot of ground covered on China, but have you heard any more from BCD? It sounds like NMPA, you're not going to hear anything from them, but have you heard from BCD on any of their expectations? And, would it be possible to launch as a research use only test? It doesn't sound like it the way I'm hearing you. And then I think that, if I'm not mistaken, there are a handful of units already installed there, or not. Any more color there, I guess, is the question.
Sure. Look, our partner has taken the Univero platform and the pneumonia application through all of the required analytical and clinical testing and studies. They've had a number of systems, and give you a sense, we've roughly over the last couple of years sold about a dozen Univero systems to them. They've deployed these at a number of very large hospital systems in Shanghai and Beijing. There's even been a publication of the Sino-Japanese Friendship Hospital, again, one of the largest, top-end institutions. So, yes, they have certainly some early adopters. I'm not going to speculate on their regulatory strategy with regards to RUO. Now, we do know that they're in very active dialogue with the NMPA, and the way, we certainly get a sense of that is that by specific requests for specific ancillary documentation and data. I'll give you one example. In the late fourth quarter of 2020, through our partner Beijing Clear and their regulatory advisors, we got a request list from the NMPA for any ancillary trial data that we had. Now, we'd already provided them the US FDA trial data on both of our LRT and LLTBAL and all of our HPN European data. But of course, there have been a number and increasing number of peer-reviewed journal publications, investigator-initiated studies from, reputable institutions here in the United States. I'll give you, Northwestern in Chicago and Beaumont, Michigan, to name a couple, as well as, institutions like Karolinska in Europe. So we've provided all of that feedback as best we know. And again, it is China, so I'll always, having done business there for the better part of the last decade, I'll take everything with a grain of salt. But we believe that they have provided all of that documentation and dossier to the NMPA. And then it's likely going to be not too dissimilar from the US FDA, because if you compare it from a procedural standpoint, from a level of diligence and request, the NMPA is by now on par with the United States FDA. They ask typically the very same questions, same quality of data. So I guess the days when you would get by with just relationship, a little bit of Guanxi and goodwill, those days were long past. So again, we believe we've submitted everything there. Frankly, we've submitted everything that there is in the world. It's been good enough to get the product approved in the United States. It's been good enough to get the product into European markets. It's been good enough to get Singaporean Health Authority approval, Thailand and Malaysia, to name another couple of countries. So I've got to believe fundamentally that product has a strong body of evidence, not just analytical, but really clinical data to support that. Again, we'll really need to focus on getting the remaining questions back, and it's probably going to boil down to either they're going to clear it or approve it based on foreign data with whatever local Chinese data that's already been generated, or they might request specific ancillary data to be generated in China. Again, there is multiple installed systems. Incidence rates of pneumonia are huge in China, so from a throughput and duration, that shouldn't be a big issue. We're certainly ready to support our partners. But right now, we have a hard enough time to second-guess the United States FDA, and we're talking to their reviewers directly every week. and we speak the same language. We're in the same country. So, we're like 3 layers removed from the Chinese NMPA here. But again, I think all signals are definitely trending in a good direction, and we're confident that it's marching in a good. I was frankly positively surprised when, after we submitted everything that we hadn't heard for a couple of months, out of the blue we get the approval. Chinese letter, red seal, there it was, right? I mean, there wasn't sort of a pre-warning or anything. That just arrived. So again, let's focus on answering any questions there may be. But we're certainly doing everything we can with our partners to kind of make it all happen.
Okay, that makes sense, and I definitely appreciate the details there. But then, just thinking about how BCB would begin commercialization on that, obviously the terms are what the terms are, but, do you have a sense of, are they rearing to go, get out of the gate real quickly? Do they have, they already kind of trained their personnel and salespeople, or, how does that aspect of it kind of sit at the moment?
Yeah, they've clearly, they're a, sort of a decent-sized organization across all 31 provinces, plus Hong Kong and Taiwan. So, they're a sizable company. They have had Univero systems. Now, their initial launch and focus, like pretty much for any modern, cutting-edge Western technology in China, you're not going to go to 31 provinces in rural China. You're going to go to the big cities, of which, frankly, there's more than enough in China, and the AAA hospitals, as they're called in China. And again, there is over 1,000 AAA hospitals in China. So again, I would anticipate, the launch to focus on Beijing, Shanghai, some of the other major cities, and those top-tier hospitals. The team there has been fully trained. Again, they have worked with multiple installed systems over the last couple of years. So their commercial team, their technical team, their marketing team, they're working very closely with our team in Europe. We've continued to have face-to-face meetings with them on a very regular basis. The one data point I would throw out there, and this is the relationship we've been building with Beijing Clear, was based on a referral by one of our other strategic corporate partners, Heraeus Medical, many years ago. Beijing Clear has been the exclusive commercial distributor for Heraeus Medical for almost 15 years. The CEO of Heraeus Medical basically told me we've never been disappointed by these guys. It's a very professional team. They've come through and they've grown the business year over year, and they've even invested in additional manufacturing capacity for Heraeus. So we're clearly excited. So far, all I can say is they've been holding up their end of the bargain, and we're excited to be working with them.
That's great. And then just thinking about the strength of balance sheet, and I appreciate the color on the potential to drive better terms on some of the these licensing or partnership agreements that you could have. But just with the strength of balance sheet, have you also seen increased interest, or changes to the negotiating posture of the folks that you're already dealing with?
It's a good question. I would say not really. All of the conversations, and again, at this point, we have multiple parallel conversations with several large corporate partners ongoing simultaneously. They're all aware that there are multiple partnering avenues we're pursuing, and if you look at some of the partnerships that Ars Genetics has had for a number of years, whether it's Sandoz or QIAGEN, but also other potential large players in the diagnostics industry. I would say the focus remains really on how to strategically build a franchise around the bioinformatics AI-powered algorithms. I would certainly say this, while 6 months ago, any partner simply taking a look at our Qs or K and our balance sheet would have known that, we're going to be between a rock and a hard place, and we're going to be signing just about any deal. That has just gone away. So I think the ability to say, look, let's be really strategic here. Let's focus on what we can do together, but also let's not trade too much of the value and too much of the upside too early on prematurely at a relatively small amount up front and then a pittance on the downstream royalty, the value is going to be in the ultimate product. So it's going to be in product revenue and a royalty upon that of any potential licensee. So, the ability to, drive this further and potentially co-invest on the R&D side along with a partner, looking at are there areas that strategically you may want to carve out commercially. That certainly gives us a very different ability to discuss strategic collaborations rather than going for the quickest possible licensing deal just to make sure we get R&D funding covered here for the next year or two.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And then just lastly for me, just wondering kind of the response that you've gotten from the RS Genetics, the AI best practices publication. I mean, that seems more like something that's going to resonate more meaningfully to industry than investors. But, what's been kind of the response there? And then, it seems like that kind of establishes some thought leadership as well. How should investors look at it to the extent that it is useful?
It certainly has put RS Genetics on the map. And again, RS Genetics has been invited. We talked about the JPIMR, but there's another large global consortium. Both of these, RS Genetics has been invited to join. And given some of the leadership roles on the AI bioinformatics side of things. So again, I would, the FDA guidance is one part. To this date, RS Genetics is the only company globally that has actually a peer-reviewed multi-center publication demonstrating the ability to not only predict antimicrobial resistance, but really to predict antibiotic susceptibility with extremely high levels of accuracy. That is a true first-mover advantage, and that's where the USP of RS Genetics and the RSDB lies. So, if you look at those consortia and you look at who the players are, it's the usual suspects of the global pharmaceutical industry in antibiotics, the global diagnostics leadership in microbiology. For them to invite RS Genetics and take a leadership role in these syndicates, it's definitely great, and it's put us on the map, which is good to see. But it will require us to continue investing and furthering, the asset, because of course, you have players out there that certainly aren't sitting on their hands, and we got to keep that first mover advantage with the databases from a combined Merck pharmaceutical strain collection with the Siemens strain collection, which is RSDB today, with its 55,000 isolates, next-gen sequenced and phenotypically looked at against over 100 antibiotics in total. We go stay at the forefront of that, and what we've certainly seen is a number of inbound interest requests from top-tier U.S. Academic centers and clinical centers to explore, collaboration opportunities, to sort of look at this as a truly next-generation solution that goes beyond PCR, that goes into NGS and AI.
That's great. Well, that's it for me. Congrats, gentlemen, on all the progress.
All right.
That's all the time we have today. I will now turn the call back to Mr. Schacht for closing remarks.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining today. Please visit the investor section of our website or our SEC filings for updates on the company. Thank you very much, and appreciate your attendance. Thank you.
All righty. And that completes the earnings call, ladies and gentlemen. There was a lot of information. I gotta say, my notes, they look like this. I'm just kidding. I didn't take any notes. It's all right here. Yes, that was OPGN, OpGen, CEO Oliver taking us to class. Honestly, I'm still trying to figure out what to even talk about. There was so much information in there. I will have to say, all you peeps in the live chat, You were cracking me up the entire time. I could not keep a straight face. At some point, I'm trying to be serious and listen to conversation in the live chat. Y'all are funny. Y'all killing me up in here. But hey, just a few things that I did take from it. The FDA approval coming soon. Keyword soon. That's right, soon. They did say all they need to do is submit the paperwork. They submitted it, and now it's kind of up to them, up to the FDA, just kind of do their thing, whatever. But they already had a whole bunch of stuff ready to roll, which somebody in the live chat pointed out and said, you know, wait a minute, what happens if you don't get approved? You got all this ready, right? Like, obviously they have some sort of, they're really confident that this is going to get approved. That's huge for a stock, by the way. Anytime you get FDA approval, and I see it on my, in this right over here to the side, all right, my news feed. It comes across and it'll show a stock ticker. It'll say FDA approved, and then like boom, the stock price it skyrockets. So that's one of those things you just want to check. Keep checking the news, and keep checking it, and check it again. Because as soon as that happens, see you later. Off to the races for that stock right there. So just another thing that I took. They were working with New York City on some COVID stuff, which I think testing and all that. I know one thing. Oliver and my sister-in-law, by the way, my wife. I have a wife. So for all you that were talking about how cute my dimples were in the live chat. Anyway, her twin sister, she's an RN, all right, and she talks like medical talk. Sometimes we're just like, we'll have a conversation, and I'll be like, she'll just go, and I'm like, I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Like honestly, I've done some web coding. I've done some web coding in the past. You're killing me, you filthy animal. In the live chat right now. By the way, we got 52 people in here, and I am just a little shy of having 200 subs for this month. All right, 200 subs. If you haven't already clicked that subscribe button, please click it. Let's see if we can get it. I want to hit 200 before the end of the month, which is middle of next week. So if you could do that for me, that would be absolutely massive if you could do that. So we got 50 people in here right now, and I think we only need what? Where we at? A little over 30. So if the majority of you click it right now, click that subscribe button, you will be ready to rock. Let's see here. You don't produce Larry said you don't produce a product unless you have assurance from the FDA, paperwork to cross the T, dot the I. Absolute facts, my friend. Facts. Larry hitting you with the facts. Larry, by the way, welcome. Filthy. Damask. Thank you. I think I said that right. Jason. Muzambes. All y'all. If I say your names wrong, I apologize, right? I'm just going by what I read. Oh, yeah. The toasted marshmallow up here in the house. Toasted marshmallows sound great. Although I am on a diet. I'm going to the beach next month. So I got to look somewhat good. Got that dad bod, right? Get it ready to rock. So also feel free to follow me on Stocktwits. There's a link in the description. There's also a link to my Twitter. If you want some more information about this news feed I have to the right, there also is a movers gainers tool if you're interested in trading. That is all linked in the description. It's called Benzinga Pro. I worked with the company directly, and they set me up on a referral link so you can get a 2-week free trial. No credit card needed. All you need is your username, password, email address. Super easy. Go click that thing, click it, and check it out. And you can get all the updated information live like I do right here each day. I do a show from 9:30 right at market open all the way through market close each day. So come in, hang out right here on the Pop the Chart live stream with me, your host, Corey, in the hizzy. That's right, I am from Cincinnati, so you're going to see me rock the Bengals, right? We were talking about the HOFV a little bit ago. Hall of Fame up in here. And had to do my, you know, it's been big the past couple days. So I had to wear my NFL stuff. Plus, the Bengals, by the way, we're talking a little bit of sports just for a second. They're making moves, ladies and gentlemen, so be ready. All you football fans, be ready. The Bengals are coming, I'm telling you. Again, we got 38 people here. Thank you so much. Hit that like button. If you click the like button, the algorithm from YouTube, it pushes me up and it kind of moves me up the list a little bit and says, hey, this guy does exist. He does breathe air. He also has a, oh, Larry, yeah, Ohio, OH. Wait for it. IO. I know you're going to say it. Anyway, I also have unicorns right here. Yeah, if you like unicorns. My 1.5-year-old daughter, she put this on my desk, so I keep this. Yeah. Whoop, whoop. Unicorns on the live stream right now. Oh, you're a Browns fan. Okay. About that. Just kidding. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, I want to go to Cleveland next month, man. The draft. It's going to happen. Oh, the West Coast. Are you Los Angeles? Anybody sometimes someone says West Coast, you usually just say LA, and you're almost right. You're usually somewhat right if you just say LA. If they say West Coast. Yeah, so I'm assuming. Hey, there's one thing in the West Coast that comes from here in Ohio that people love. I can tell you. I'll give you a hint. He shares the same birthday as this guy right here. He got, otherwise known as LeBron James. That's right. LeBron. That's right. Anyway, Larry, have you ever been to the Hall of Fame resort? Oh, Carlos talking to Larry in the live chat. Again, hit that live chat up. Say hi. Introduce yourself. I'm gonna refresh this. Come on, we gotta be getting close to 200 now. Come on, y'all gotta be click on that subscribe button. Oh, we're moving up a little bit, tiny little bit. Although if you've already subscribed, thank you to everybody who hit that sub button and joined in as we watch OPGN. I'm gonna go back real quick to the HOF real fast. I'm gonna pull that up. We're gonna go back to the double chart, double up in here, and we're gonna go back to the Hall of Fame, which, by the way, I charted yesterday. If you watch you can go back and watch the video. It's on my channel. I did a video about Hall of Fame, and I said it's gonna come back, probably hit the line. It's making a G-dub move. George W. on the 30-minute chart. I said it's gonna come back here, fight with that line, and probably move back up. Look at this. You tell me I'm crazy. But I charted that, ladies and gentlemen. Carlos, tell him I'm right. I know you were here yesterday. Tell him I'm right in the live chat. Look at that. Got a big G-dub, George W. move off there. By the way, again, I do technical analysis each day. Come on in, check it out. Let's see here. About to go make 32 more YouTube accounts and get you to... Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You were amazing. That's right. Don Smith, is that Arizona? Okay, so Bay Area. Ah, you're Bay Area. Okay. So Bay Area, does that make you a Raiders fan or 49ers fan? Because that's there's like a split there somewhere. A big fine line split. I know I do know the Raiders moved, right? They moved to Vegas. They're in Vegas now. So they're out there in the Vegas. I got some peeps that come in all the time out from Vegas and Cali and all that. So yeah. Arizona. You guys get the warm weather out there all the time. Don, thanks for the sub. By the way, since you just clicked the sub button, please tell me, did something pop up on your screen? I've been trying to find out all day. I set this thing up. I've been trying to find out. It's supposed to say like a thank you on the screen. Did that happen? If so, please say yes. If it didn't, let me know, because then I know there's an issue. There should have been something that came up on your screen. I'm trying to look back to the delayed feed. There's a delayed feed on my screen. Got your Raiders hat on. Yeah. Raiders. Okay, Seahawks fan. There you go. Seahawks. You just like Russell Wilson. That's all it is. You like Russell Wilson's dimples. That's all it is. Let's see here. By the way, if you hear the herd of elephants in my house, it's me and my family is home right now. They're running up and down the house. Oh yeah, okay. There it is. So it did jump up on there on the screen. All right, good deal. Oh, it did not. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, it's supposed to come up and say somebody that you subbed on the screen. I apologize. Something came up a minute ago like it worked. I don't know. But hopefully it does. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, If you hit the sub button, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. That sound in the background is my daughter. It sounds like she's about to knock on the door and be like, yo, come, daddy. Come, daddy. Come over here. Come hang out. Let's watch some Elmo. She loves Elmo. We're on the Elmo train right now. But I do need to really quick, I just want to finish this interview from earlier. So if you hung out for HOFV, I do want to just finish playing this interview, right, from earlier. So let's pause the music. Let's play this interview. Here we go.
Awesome. So you mentioned going public, via a SPAC.
So anybody who missed it, here you go.
What's the revenue potential that you have kind of laid out for this, and is any of that priced into current projections from the company that are publicly out there?
We have not priced it into the economics that we've shared publicly. I can't talk about the economics associated with NFTs at this time. Listen, I think there's a reality here, and that is we're developing new product and new content. You've seen some of the economics associated with Patrick Mahomes and Rob Gronkowski and others. And what's amazing to me is when you give people access to great content, the demand is just incredible. And so as there is demand, the economics tend to go up. But we're looking very hard at this business and wanting to take measured steps because we want to be protective of our content, and we want to share that and tell those stories in ways that are representative of our brands and the quality that we represent. If we do that, the economics are going to be, we think, positive for us, and we'll have a lot to build upon. This is, as I said, a pipeline that we have that we can continue to grow for many years to come.
What's the current timeline on launching these NFTs? Is there kind of a date, a month, or a quarter in mind, or are we still a little ways out here?
The great thing about NFTs, and I use that example of, old animated films versus, creating films now, the speed to market is much quicker. And so when you've identified artists that have really high capabilities and you've got the content, it can be done in a relatively short manner of time. Our goal is within a quarter to have things out there in the marketplace. I'd love to say sooner, but again, we want to be careful here. We want to make sure the quality is representative of who we are and who Dolphin is. Our partners. This is a new business for us, and we don't want to rush it. We want to do it right. We don't want to stumble out of the gate or fumble the ball or have a false start in any of the football language you want to say. We want to do it right, and we want to have the right plays and continue to push the ball down the field. And this is another example of where we can leverage our content to do that.
Perfect. I've got a couple more questions, and then we've got some from the chat here. So you mentioned the Fantasy League. I know it was the Crown League before. It was acquired by Hall of Fame Resorts. Plans to launch. Originally, it looked like they were going to use blockchain technology. What's the play here? Is that Crown League, Hall of Fame Fantasy League, is there a blockchain capability here and a crypto play there as well?
On that as much right now. We want to make this very mainstream and easily accessible by all fans. It's not a cryptocurrency entry or staking. We do have a deal with Stake Kings that we did just a few short months ago that allows fans to engage and back a team or stake a team, if you will. I'll be able to talk more next week about what that means in the context of winnings, because everybody wants to be able to win something if they're in a league. But what we're excited about is this is as I said, a franchise model. There's going to be 10 geographic locations. Those locations are going to be announced next week. They're going to have great names and great logos or brands. We'll open our merchandise store because fans love to buy merchandise for the teams that they cheer for. We'll open staking, so even not knowing who your team yet is, and we'll name the front offices about a month or two later, and then, of course, there will be our draft and trading and things of that nature. But we believe that giving people the ability to learn about the league, to understand how to engage with it, you become, part of a social environment that really allows you to be part of fantasy without having to be as active in doing your own thing against somebody's in a league. This is a team-based fantasy sport. And one of our guys says this all the time: you can become the chief trash talker of your team, because you're going to get to interact with your front office, give them input to the selection and draft day, and give them input to trades. And you're probably going to learn some things, because we're going to have professional fantasy football players in the front office doing a lot of this work for us. This is a really, really unique, one-of-a-kind experience that we're excited to launch. And, look, those teams are going to play each other virtually every week throughout that 10-week season. Our hope is that as teams play each other, fans like to put a bet down on that, and just like they would in a real game. So sports betting's not legal in Ohio yet, but eventually we hope to have, a sports betting partnership in place where that league could reside, and we could have other, sports betting angles as well as a company.
Perfect. Yeah, I want to hit on sports betting next. The last question I had here, I have to ask. You've got the grand ambitions, right, of becoming kind of the Disney World of the NFL. Multiple hotels, water parks. I've seen the pictures. It looks amazing, but it also, in return, costs a lot of money. What's the current financial situation, and are there plans to do share offerings or raise capital in the near or long term here?
Near-term offerings, and right now our answer is not yet. We've done the offerings that we need to do. When we went public, it was a hard time. Let's face it, last July was not the best time to take the company public, but we did, and we were successful in doing that, and we've continued to execute our game plan since. We've raised over $100 million of new equity into the company. The cost of this next phase is around $300 million. So we feel like we've got the equity in place that we need. The lending process has been underway for quite some time now, and so that's sort of the last leg of the stool, is to put the construction loan in place, and we have line of sight on that with several lenders, and that's our focus, to get the assets built. When I came, it was a slightly more ambitious plan, and one thing I know is it's digestible bites, creating the next sense of place, and building more and more to give guests a chance to want to come back over and over again. It's repeatability, it's length of stay, and that's the plan we have. So we have multiple phases that we're looking at doing. This phase, is over the next couple of years. It's already started. We've started building, we've cleared land, we've done all the things we need to do, design work, all of that is in place. And we're looking in the next couple of months to start the rest of the facilities as well.
Awesome. So thousands of people in here, they're all excited to hear about NFTs, but we also got tons of questions about sports betting. I know you've hit on that a little bit in these comments here, but let's hit on that again. And I know we asked it before when you were on our show. Ohio is not currently one of the states that has legalized sports betting. They are in talks. How quickly do you think, we could see Ohio legalize sports betting? Is that an assumption, and is it priced into Hall of Fame's financial model?
So again, I'll start with the last part of it. No, it's not priced into our model, simply because we could never predict the future. And I always say our crystal ball is as good as anybody else's. But what we've done is we've stayed close to what's going on at the State House in Columbus. We've certainly met with consultants and lobbyists to try to understand directionally where things are headed. I do know it's under review right now. I can't speak any more to that than anyone else, because I'm not close to that or those proceedings. But what we've tried to do, just like anyone else would strategically think about what a sports betting relationship would look like for us if in the event it does become legal. And so, a physical presence at our campus here, without question. We have a lot of different virtual that we could connect our guests to a sports betting partners platform. Our fantasy league that I just talked about should absolutely reside on a sports betting platform for my money. I'd love to be able to bet on those virtual games, just like we saw over this past year, sponsorship opportunities. So we have continued to think about that, and we've had conversations with potential sports betting partners, and we're actively looking at that space in the event that it does become legal. And I feel like we're positioned as a sports and entertainment company with access to, great content and partnerships and the best players to ever play the game in a way that we could bring great value to a sports betting partner. So I'm hopeful. Hope is never a strategy, I always say, but I'm hopeful that it does become legal and that we do have a chance to integrate that into our company, because I really believe sports betting is a way in which fans enjoy and enhance their engagement to any sport, not just football. And as a sports and entertainment company, it's our responsibility to try and be in that space if we can.
Awesome. So you said, already talked to several partners. Is that looking like that will be the preferred method here, is partnering with an existing sports betting company?
We don't want to become the house, as I would say. There are too many great companies out there. I don't list them because then people will speculate, am I talking about one or the other as our partner? But them all. There are a lot of partners that we have talked to and will continue to talk to, and they have expertise in this space, and they have an ability to bring what we can have and share in terms of content, physical space, virtual environments. They can bring those to life in ways that we couldn't on our own. There's no reason for us to try to recreate that wheel.
Awesome. So, we've kept you here for, over a half hour, Mike. I think that's going to wrap up with questions from us. We got to all the ones from the chat as well about sports betting. Lots of exciting things happening here with Hall of Fame resorts. We've got NFTs, we've got sports betting coming, and we've got that great Hall of Fame class coming in 2021. Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson. I'm looking forward to following that as well. So big thank you to you for joining us on the show once again in this exclusive interview. So thank you so much for your time. Again, Mike Crawford, CEO, Hall of Fame Resort. That's ticker HOFV. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. My pleasure. Have a great night.
You too.
Alrighty. That was... Yes, the CEO. We finished that. If they would have started that interview about 5 to 10 minutes sooner, I would have got it in just before the earnings call. Just before it. But that's okay. We finished it up afterwards. And I am very happy that I did, because there's some... I'm telling you, there's some awesome info right there. For those of you interested in HOFV, I'm telling you, it's massive. They're going to team up with the NFL. They put a resort in at the Hall of Fame. You got the NFL draft next month in Cleveland. In Cleveland, they're going to do some stuff down at the Hall of Fame as well. There's all kinds of stuff going on. They're about to legalize sports betting soon. I do know Ohio has talked about it several times about legalizing it. So it is coming, right? All the other states around them are doing it, and they're realizing they're losing money to those other states. It's just like when the casino thing back in the day with Ohio, everybody would drive so I'm in Cincinnati, right? I'm here in Cincinnati. So there was no legal gambling here. You had to go to Indiana. People would go to Indiana. They had all these riverboats and stuff, casinos in Indiana. They would drive to Indiana. They would go there, right? Ohio started realizing, we're losing all this money. So then they put it on the ballot. Guess what? People voted on it. And they said, hey, you can have, it's not really gambling, but you can have these special areas around the state where you can do actual slot machines, right? No table games, all slot machines. So it's all slot machines only. So they took that step. That step right there automatically shows me, okay, we made that step. We can make more money if we do this. And then you have the talk of legalization of marijuana. We can make some money from this. We can make some money from that. I'm telling you, these people are starting to realize that they're losing money to other states. And they're like, there's no reason why we should be losing money here when we have probably the highest populated state of any of the states around us. So we should be the ones doing it. And now you're going to have the NFL come in and say, hey, yo, we're bringing you all this money. We're bringing you these people. People are coming here to visit your state, travel, everything. You're going to make money from it. Why not? It can help your roads. It can help your schools. It can help all this stuff, right? Yes. Do it. Do it. All right, that's my take. That's my soapbox for the day. Again, HOFV. I charted it yesterday. Check my video out on it. It's already moving up in the after hours. Again, it took a little bit of a fall right off when he did the interview, came back, and now it's starting to run back up. It's got a nice channel running right up through there. So I'm telling you, if this thing keeps rocking and it breaks that $8 and something up there, that last high, the next stop is 11 to 14. You can look at it right now. I'll go on the 30-minute chart. I'm going to pull it out, let you see. If it breaks this 868, next stop is the moon, I'm telling you. We'll go right here. You can see it. Notice that this has hit multiple touch points all the way up through here. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. If it breaks that, see it. The next stop is 868. It breaks that, see it's going to 12. And they're making an announcement next week about that fantasy thing. That and the locations and all that. They're talking about that next week. So don't be surprised if it doesn't moon again. I'm not a financial advisor. Can't tell you what to do with your money. But I personally believe, in my own personal opinion, this thing's going to rock it. And that brings me to the end of our stream. Thank you to the 14 people that stayed in there. Carlos is like, I'm up $1,000. Carlos, I got you. He said, thanks, look at you. Thank you. You about like that person earlier trying to make me blush. She's trying to make me blush right now as I knock the microphone out the way here. What's the FDA time? Oh, Santiago, the FDA timeline. They didn't give a timeline. They just said soon. They said they filed the paperwork. They sent the paperwork in, and they were like, for OPGN, they sent the paperwork in, and they said, hey, like it's in. They have the paperwork. They just have to hit the approval button. We have all this stuff ready to roll, ready to go out, everything. They've already done like the supply, all that jazz. They're like ready to rock. But they were like, but the problem is they can't do anything until the FDA just says, you're good. But apparently they're pretty confident because they got all their stuff ready to just be shipped out. So they're pretty confident. Because I think they'd be pretty upset if they had it all ready to be shipped out and found out it isn't approved and all of that got wasted. So that's the info on them. They missed a little bit on the earnings, though. They missed on the earnings, but outside of that, FDA approval coming down the line very, very soon, according to the CEO, Mr. Oliver up there. Santiago, have you hit the that subscribe button yet, or that like button? If you haven't, you should do so, because I do technical analysis on stocks all day long, Monday through Friday, market open through market close. And you get me one step closer to that 200 goal of the month, and I am not far off of it. I am, let's see. Oh, I'm at 170. Unless that was you that clicked it. Hit that. I'm at 170 by less than 30. Less than 30 people. We can do this. We can do this, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I hate to cut this short, but the fam is waiting on me. I think I heard my daughter trying to knock on the door. She's 1.5 years old. She's like, hey, daddy. So I am going to end this stream. You all have a great night. I will be here bright and early again tomorrow, Friday, to end the week. Yes, end the week. Yes, sir. Santiago Rodriguez. I got you. I will be here ready to rock tomorrow. I will schedule my stream and it'll be ready to roll. And we'll get this rocking. So, again, thank you to everybody who subbed, everybody who wrote in the live chat, everybody that hung out for OPGN, for HOFV, for everything here at Pop the Chart. Have a great night. Peace.